Hello everyone, and welcome to this morning's webinar. I'm Brad Johnson, and I'm the storeroom subject matter expert here at Cityworks. Pleased to be here with Stephen and Andrew from the Public Works Department in Scarboro, Maine. The webinar today will last approximately 30 minutes, followed by a 10-minute question and answer session. If you have any questions or concerns during the presentation, feel free to send them to me in the Q&A window or at the bottom corner of the screen. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. For those of you that may not know, we'll go ahead and give a little overview. Cityworks is a powerful, flexible, and affordable web-centric public asset management solution. We support more than 700 local governments and public service organizations throughout the United States and around the world, from single-user sites to enterprise installations. Cityworks is built exclusively on Esri's ArcGIS. Our platform is designed to help local governments and utilities manage public assets and their associated data, activities, and business processes. Storeroom is the Cityworks application that is designed to manage material, manage warehouse transactions, including material for work orders, provide information to make good educated evaluations of inventory and inventory management, and allows multiple users to work in any combination of within multiple storerooms, including vehicles as well as warehouses and regular buildings. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and give just a brief demonstration of Storeroom, and pull up my tablet here. Storeroom is designed with transactions that can be performed: issue, receive, transfer, auditing, as well as requisitioning and build assemblies, putting together material ahead of time, and in performing those functions, using the material in a real-time status with work orders, with employees, suppliers, and so forth. Just as a quick demonstration, I can issue material to a work order on my tablet and enter the information as today's date, the work order number, or an employee if I were issuing to an employee. I can use accounts and so forth to track those transactions and to be able to search on that information later to perform various reports. Once I've selected an item, I can enter the work order information and the date, add this to my list, put in a quantity, and add this to my list. And if I have additional items to add to my work order, I can add those, commit these, and I've now added material to my work order, just that easy. Transactions such as receiving, transferring, and auditing can all be performed just as easily and be able to manage and maintain my inventory correctly. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over now to our presenters from Scarboro, Maine, Stephen and Andrew. So Stephen and Andrew, go ahead and take it away, guys.
All right, hello everybody. I'm Stephen Buckley. I'm with Public Works in Scarborough, Maine, and I'm joined here by Andrew Saxer, who's our parts room manager. Hello. So we're just going to go through and give a quick presentation on how we use Storeroom here and then how we got implemented in 2015. So I'll just quickly a little bit about the town of Scarborough. So we're located in southern Maine, just south of Portland. We have a population of 20,000, which for most of the world is very small, but for Maine that makes us the around the 7th largest community. We are a coastal community. We have around 5 miles of sandy beaches. We have a large portion of the town is taken up by a large salt marsh, which is the largest in the state. This is home to lots of rare bird species and is a popular attraction with people kayaking and coming to look at the birds. Because we've got all the sandy beaches, we have a large influx of tourists in the summer months, so our population swells considerably from around June to September. Our Cityworks use, so right now it's only our Public Works Department that's using Cityworks. We do have plans in the future to expand that to community services and possibly our sanitary district as well. So we have around 30 users using Cityworks currently, and some of the things that we're using it for, we're a fairly typical public works organization in that we have a division that's working on the outside, so our outside operations, they're maintaining town infrastructure. This includes around 200 miles of public roads. We have 2 cemeteries. We have a tree crew that manages all our trees. We also manage waste and recycling. We're doing that for around 6 months of the year, and then the other 6 months is winter operations, so we're plowing snow from November through to April. We also manage vehicle equipment. We have a fleet with around 8 mechanics. It comprises around almost 300 pieces of equipment that we maintain. And as part of that, we also have the storeroom, which serves both the vehicle maintenance and also our outside operations. So we stock everything, to do with all our parts for our vehicles, all the way through to our pipes and things like that we're using on our outside operations for maintenance. So why Cityworks? So we went with Cityworks in 2015, so we implemented it. So the reason why we chose Cityworks, the first reason was we wanted better integration with our GIS. We have a pretty good GIS system that we've had in place for many years. Our previous software did not have particularly good integration with Cityworks, so we were basically running 2 systems, managing it in the GIS, and then we're also managing it in our previous asset management system. We were also looking for a software that had better storeroom functions. So our previous software did have the storeroom, but it was pretty clunky. There were a lot of errors, that came about due to the fact that it wasn't particularly user-friendly. There were a lot of bugs and things in the system that were really making it difficult to use. The other issue was that it wasn't mobile. It was a client-based software. We had a limited number of users, and we really wanted to have a lot more of our field crew guys and our fleet maintenance guys using the software in order to put in their times and cut down the amount of admin time that we had afterwards. And the final reason, and probably one of the most important factors, was that, as a small department in a small town, we really didn't want to have, fleet guys using one software, our operation guys using another software, and our storeroom using a third software. So the fact that we could do that all in one software was, one of the big reasons why we chose to go with Cityworks. So, life before Storeroom with our old software, as I mentioned, we didn't have any mobility. We were limited to around 8 users in the software. If you wanted additional users, it was a fee to add them. We have a pretty large storeroom of around 14,000 different line items. So, we only have one person, for the most part, who's tracking all of that. So really being able to have that accurate, have all the tools like min and max inventory reporting, it was really important for us to be able to have those things. And in our previous software, we didn't. There's a lot of data inaccuracies. There was a lot of bugs. A lot of the transactions weren't live, so one person would be doing one thing on one terminal, and someone on another terminal wouldn't see that updated transaction until after the fact, and that led to a lot of confusion, and not being able to trust the data that was in front of people. The other thing that we also started to barcode everything. As I say, we have around 14,000 items, so being able to barcode it really sped things up, but in our old software, it wasn't designed to do that. So we were using a third-party software to do the barcoding, and then trying to integrate that with the old software. It was really cumbersome, time-consuming, and led to a lot of issues. So implementation of Storeroom. So we did this in 2015, and we started in around actual implementation around January of 2015. We partnered with power engineers who went through our old system entirely and looked at everything we had in there, and then went through Cityworks and tried to set it up, with a good kind of mix of how we'd previously done things, but also trying to improve our process to work better in Cityworks. So what we ended up doing was we ended up transferring all our old data from our old software for Storeroom into Cityworks, and we also brought over quite a bit of our history for work orders. So all in all, it took around 6 months to get that done, and we went live with Cityworks in July 2015. And a big part of that was the integration of the barcoding. So now we are able to do it within the Cityworks software. We only have 2 or 3 steps in order to do it. We have a report, which is just it's a little barcode, which we'll show you in a second. And it's a report, and anytime we want to print that, we just go in and print the report and pull that up, and then we're able to scan that barcode. So I'm going to hand you over to Andy, who's going to go through a little bit about the barcoding and a little bit more about the storeroom.
All right, thanks, Steve. As Steve mentioned, this is basically the start of our barcoding process. We have created a separate panel with a shortcut to this report right on our main toolbar of Cityworks. So we're able to just quickly click that report. It brings up this prompt where you enter your material ID. You actually run the report, which will give you this crystal report, including the barcode itself, the description of the item, the number that is barcoded, and then in the bottom right corner is our bin location as to where it's stored within the one storeroom that we are bin locating things currently. After that, we export this report into a PDF, and then we simply select the printer, the barcode printer that's already formatted for our barcode size, and physically print however many barcodes we'd like. So since we've integrated, or since we've switched to Cityworks, we've gained a lot of usage history that we didn't have with our previous system, allowing me to make better decisions on min-max levels and department needs based on seasonal use, so on and so forth. We've also, now that we're able to have as many users as we'd like, and everything is displayed in live time, we've brought on technicians and some of our outside road crew employees into Cityworks, and they are now billing their own materials to specific work orders, creating their work orders as well. So in the shop setting, we're allowing mechanics to come in, grab their own parts if they know where they're stored, and also build them from laptops, or we have terminals set up in the storeroom to do so right there in the storeroom, as well as individual laptops that each technician has on the shop floor. We also are looking to expand to other departments, and based on our usage with history within Cityworks Storeroom, we're able to see, you know, trends in certain items like white goods, safety apparel, garden shovels, tools of that nature, and we're now supplying some of the other town departments with those items, and I keep enough on hand to keep a good, you know, a good amount available for people when they need it. As Steve had mentioned, our previous system had a lot of inaccuracies, more likely due to the fact that each terminal was not live and connected to one another. So if someone on one was doing one thing and someone on the other terminal was doing another, you wouldn't necessarily have the same end result. So now that we're all live on the same system, it's much more accurate, and that leads to better reporting in the end. Also, our inventory search features have greatly improved. There's multiple fields to search from now instead of, you know, our previous system was pretty limited in how we could search. You can search by pretty much any attribute and find the item you're looking for within the system. So some lessons that we learned in the implementation of Storeroom, I guess the biggest lesson would be to make sure that your data that you're migrating is accurate and complete. If you're bringing inaccurate or incomplete data over, you're going to wind up with just that. If we were to do it over, we probably would consider starting our storeroom from scratch instead of trying to make data and fields from a system that was created, you know, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago. I'm not sure when our previous software was written, but it was quite old. Yeah. You're comparing apples and oranges, and to make the two fit, well, it's just a lot of time and resources invested with minimal gains. So if you can do without transaction history dating back to implementation, then I would strongly recommend that you just do a physical inventory and bring items in fresh. Down the road with Cityworks, we're planning on creating individual storerooms for different service trucks, different storerooms within our department. Right now, we basically have two main storerooms. One that I manage pretty tightly, that has a majority of our items, and then we have another one that we use for a lot of our aggregate and more road maintenance products. But we see a future bringing in our electrical storeroom, our street signs, as well as setting those up with their own min and max levels. They use a lot of the same products that we use, so I can easily transfer some of the products that I keep into those storerooms so they're on hand for those crews. And at present time, we do not employ any cycle counting or physical inventories on a planned basis. We do spot checks, and as we, you know, relocate items, we check transaction history. But I'd like to implement some sort of cycle count process, and there is the ability to do so within Storeroom, as well as categories to individual items, just to give an extra or additional search field per items, so we can group brake system parts together, cab parts together, heating parts together. Just adds to the versatility of the search feature.
Okay, and that's the end of our presentation. So I think we'll hand it back, and we've got some Q&A.
Stephen and Andrew, thank you for providing such valuable insight on how Cityworks Storeroom can enable and eliminate bottlenecks and reduce cost. As you saw, Scarboro came up with the barcode solution that works for them. Cityworks Storeroom supports a range of barcode solutions, including what they showed, as well as Bluetooth scanners, and we have a complete integration with a third-party vendor, Radley Corporation, that does a full barcode scanning implementation. So again, thank you guys, appreciate that. Let's dive into some of the questions that you have asked out here. The first one is, How does your work orders interact with storeroom? Since storeroom is just an integral part of Cityworks, working with work orders is really seamless. From within storeroom, you can select your material, select the work order that you want it on, and assign it to that work order. I showed that a little bit earlier, but it's just a seamless process, and it's all within Cityworks. And you don't have to have any other applications or anything for your work orders. What has been your experience when a part number changes? When updating the part number, does it still reference all previous work orders the old part number was distributed to? The answer to that is yes. You can update part numbers. There is a method of doing that. Once the original part number was associated with a work order, that would never change, and it can be referenced back to that. So good question. One of the questions is, so Cityworks now has barcode scanning. Yes, I don't know if you remember when I had my tablet up, there's actually a spot right in the middle of the tablet application that says scan barcode. And you can use an Android device, an Apple device, and you can use the built-in camera on a tablet as a barcode scanner now. So yes, that works very well with that. Does storeroom integrate with your accounting system, whichever system? And yes, the business partners typically who implement Cityworks can, using the APIs in storeroom, can build that integration with your financial system. Okay, let's see. So question is, do you randomly assign material IDs, or does the number have a meaning? And as a best practice, when you create material, you actually create the unique ID or the material UID. And as I say, as a best practice, I would have those descriptions and those IDs planned ahead of time so that it makes sense and it's not just random and all over the place. No, you create those unique IDs, and again, I would plan those so that they make sense. They have application to the material that you're entering into the system. Just looking at a couple of the other questions here. Will a recording of the presentation be available at the conclusion? Yes, we will make that available. I actually have a little blurb that I'll read on that when we get down to there. Does storeroom allow for material to be reserved for work orders that are upcoming? We don't actually reserve material for storeroom, but you can on a work order. There's an estimated tab in the material section. You can put estimated material on and build a list of material needed for a work order, but it won't actually reserve it in storeroom. One question is, how is tracking minimum quantities achieved in Cityworks? In storeroom, you can build a search on your minimum quantities and save that. The nice thing about storeroom is any search that you do can be saved and create a saved search. That can then be placed on your inbox, and in real time, it will update any time an item hits a minimum quantity. So you can track that. There is an automated system for that, and it will keep you apprised of that in real time. Let's look at one or two more questions here. Let's see here. Can you clarify how the barcodes are created initially? So there's a lot of ways to create barcodes. The ones that Andrew showed you were created in Crystal Reports. Crystal Reports actually has a function in its functionality to convert text or numbers into a barcode. So I actually use Crystal Reports to create barcodes, but there's a lot of other programs out there. Bartender is one of the most popular ones that will create barcodes for you. You can get the little thermal laser printers to print barcodes up to the larger, more industrial size printer. So there's a lot of way to print barcodes, but you would have to have, Storeroom won't print them out of the box. You'd have to have some type of software that would print those barcodes. So we've got a lot of really good questions that are continuing to come in here. Any questions that we didn't get to today will be answered in a follow-up report after the webinar. Please be on the lookout for a brief survey to follow this when we exit the webinar. This survey will allow you to provide feedback and ask additional questions that you might have. Also, a recording of the webinar will be sent to your email. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your attendance and hope that everybody has a great day. Thank you again.